MS-13 stands for Mara Salvatrucha. Mara is gang, Salva is for Salvador, and Trucha means clever or sharp. The 13 is the 13th letter of the alphabet, which is M. Like many gangs, they have very little empathy for human life. It is normal in gang culture, specifically in MS, to begin unaliving as a child at a very young age. So by the time you're 16, you probably have a few bodies under your belt. And once you're in a gang, it's very difficult to get out. Like they say, blood in, blood out. Now, this is what sets MS-13 apart from other gangs. MS has a long history, a long satanic history. Yes, they are satanic. They worship you-know-who. And
what up, YouTube? My name is Happiness and welcome to my channel. So we are still going to continue with this MS-13. What do I say? Continue with MS-13. But okay, we are going to look at this lady. She literally tells a story about MS-13 and how it was formed. So let's check her video out, whereby she explains in a 7-minute video by which she tells us how it was formed and so and so. But that's her own opinion. Other people have their own opinion, but she might be a resident from Los Angeles or a person that comes from El Salvador also, but migrated, or her family members migrated to Los Angeles. I don't know, but she has an interesting story to tell you about the MS-13 gang. So let's check this video out. And yes,
since this is somewhat of a trending topic right now, let's talk about MS-13. For those of you that may not be familiar with gangs in general, who are not familiar with MS-13, let's just go over some common basic knowledge that everyone should know. This gang originated in the 80s in Los Angeles. It was meant to be Salvadorian immigrants protecting themselves. That's what the gang was supposed to be, protecting themselves from other gangs in the area, because as we know, Los Angeles is notorious for gang culture. But of course, over time, this grew into what is a now traditional criminal organization. MS-13 stands for Mara Salvatrucha. Mara is gang, Salva is for Salvador, and Trucha means clever or sharp. The 13 is the 13th letter of the alphabet, which is M. After the Civil War in 1992 in El Salvador, once that was over with, Salvadorian immigrants in the U.S. were deported back to their country, and that is when the issue begins. MS-13 just grows and grows and grows, and more people are initiated, and it turns into something more and more dark. Before you know it, they are running things. They are all over the place. It wasn't just El Salvador with a problem. It was Central America in general. It's Guatemala, it's Honduras. They have a really huge gang problem. It's thanks to Bukele that now El Salvador is a very safe place, but Guatemala is still suffering with an issue. Honduras is still suffering with an issue. Like many gangs, they have very little empathy for human life. It is normal in gang culture, specifically in MS, to begin unaliving as a child at a very young age. A gentleman in the documentary that I was watching said that he caught his first body at 9 years old. Another gentleman said he first joined the gang at 5 years old. So by the time you're 16, you probably have a few bodies under your belt. Now, this is something that is very attractive for young men because there's a community behind it. Gangs really feel like a family, like they have your back, like you belong to something. There's a lot of poverty in these places in the world, so it's kind of like, it seems like a way to get ahead, to have friends, to earn respect. So a lot of young men get caught up. They get caught up in the mix. And once you're in a gang, it's very difficult to get out. Like they say, blood in, blood out. It's normally very young people though. Once you're older, you're either in prison already, you're kind of retired, kind of over it. It's a very young person thing to do, to be in a gang, because if you really think about it, as tough as it seems, it's actually all very immature. Now, this is what sets MS-13 apart from other gangs. MS has a long history, a long satanic history. Yes, they are satanic. They worship you know who. And let me tell you a little bit about how it started. Before MS-13 was called MS-13, they were called Mara Salvatrucha stoners. And as the name suggests, it was just a bunch of young people that were stoners and liked to listen to, heavy metal. So it was very different than your average gang. It really wasn't even a gang at all. They would just get together, toke it up, and listen to heavy metal. But a lot of these heavy metal listeners were into Satanism, and they practiced Satanism. They would participate in animal sacrifices and whatnot, schmacrifices. I don't know what I'm allowed to say. And of course, this would actually push a lot of people away, because not everybody's into that. Nobody likes that, you know. It's kind of off-putting, but enough people were into it that they continued on this tradition, right? They liked it. It gave the gang a sort of mysterious, intimidating, very creepy feel to it, and they liked that. So it only gets darker and darker. I mean, a lot of, you know, victims of MS-13, you'll find altars, you'll find types of I don't even know how to say it on here without getting banned. They will like dismember people and like put their insides in such a way that it makes the shape of the devil. They often say that they're taking orders from La Bestia, aka Satan, or they'll tattoo like horns on their bodies and call it La Garra, aka Satan's claw. They drink each other's blood, all types of really disturbing things. And you know, to me, it's actually very fascinating. It's fascinating because I'm like, wow, how can someone have such little regard for human life? For how can somebody be into this? And really, it's all tribalism. Like, it's nothing new. Look at history. We've always been this way, and I think we all have it inside of us. It just takes the right circumstance. I try not to judge, because I don't know what I'd be like if I grew up in poverty, if I grew up in certain situations, but I'd like to think that I have just like an empathy inside of me, that I can't just have little regard for human life like this. One of the gentlemen in the interview, in the documentary, was talking about his brother and how his brother was unalived by a rival gang. And his attitude about it was so interesting. He's just said, you know, life is a game. You win some, you lose some. It's just completely desensitized to, you know, unaliving people. Something I love that Bukele did with his prison is that, you know, before he had his massive prison, when they used to jail gang members, they used to put them in different jails because they absolutely hated each other. Sorry, they would put the different gangs in different jails because they hated each other and it was just too violent, too dangerous, whatever. Bukele said, oh yeah, I'm putting you all in the same place. So he put all the gangs in the same spot, which to me is like a form of rehabilitation, because it's kind of like saying, like, listen, this division is a figment of your imagination. You're not divided. Y'all are in the same place. Y'all all have the same freaking tattoo. Y'all all look the same. You're in the same place. You're not going anywhere. And who knows, 50 years later of being locked up together, they might be friends. So I really like that approach, and I think it's pretty badass. I like what Bukele has done in general. Like, yes, I may have my critiques about due process, but I don't think he was able to do due process. That takes time. To do what he got done and to clean up the country as quickly as he did what he had to do. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to educate anyone who didn't know this, like, common knowledge.
Okay guys, now we are gonna look through a couple of comments to which some users added. So one user says, facts, people don't know the history. I was born in El Salvador, lived through the war, which I'm still traumatized till this day. My family and I immigrated to LA in the 80s and lived through the gang war. Another one says that all this history is not 100% correct. Unfortunately, I was there in Los Angeles when the gang was formed, and this is not the exact truth. Just to end with this topic. I'll just say that when I check the internet, it does show that most members who are affiliated with MS-13, their tattoos are literally like, say, MS-13, and everywhere like they have tattoos. So yes, it would not be hard to identify a person to which says he's MS-13, but accusing somebody is part of a gang because of one little tattoo, I don't know. I don't really know, but that's how they say this, how they accuse him of being part of the gang. But yes, guys, that's all I can say. And yes, thank you for watching my channel. Please like and subscribe, and let's meet up to the next one, and peace out.